Good job.
We are recording. From now on, you are on the screen right now.
Oh, yay. We can
Okay.
edit me.
All right, crew. So we're probably going to get started. You may notice that even though I can project my voice, it sounds super loud. We're going to try to record our meetings from pretty much here on out. So when people are presenting up here, we'll just pass off this mic to whoever it is. The only reason being not that you can't hear us when we talk, but that the recording can't hear us when we talk. So that also means that if you're going to raise your hand and talk from the back, just try to project your voice as well as possible for the recording. I don't know. And we'll see how this goes. Cody wants to put them all on YouTube so that people can access the recordings, because I know that's what you guys are going to do when you go home tonight. You're going to be like, man, I wish I could watch 5 more minutes of that recording. You know, so it'll be on YouTube. Yeah, sure could. Yes. Yeah, so I'll do that if that happens and I'm up here, but we can also have the speaker do that when they're presenting later. Do you want to do a blurb on this? Do you want this thing? I don't care.
Hi, guys. All right, so something super exciting is happening this week, and it is called Ski Days. So basically a bunch of different resorts are coming down to campus on Wednesday and Thursday all day, and they're going to be selling discounted season tickets, lift tickets, all sorts of stuff. So what you are required to do is share this with your class. Even if you're not a skier or snowboarder, you probably have a lot of people that are and would be really interested in this. So let's get the word out and have this be successful. Does anybody have any questions about this? Yes. Yep, I have some right here. And they'll be right over there to pick up. And also, Will did email it again to everybody. Any other questions?
Just on that note, Will check out that she really needs volunteers to help out Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Take a look at your schedule, and if you're not on, maybe you can at least help for an hour or something.
Yeah, honestly, I really need somebody to be there to set up on Wednesday, because I won't be there, but Thursday I will. And it's a perfect way to get one of your events out of the way, your required things. You can just email me. Yep, or Will, and he can forward it to me, whichever. Cool. Any other questions? I will write it up there. Okay. Cool. Just killer deals. Just killer deals. No. Sorry. It was just me planning this one. So did my best, you guys. Thank you.
Well all right. So you guys are probably like, who's this guy up here that's not Cody, that I can't see as well over the podium? Cody's not here today, so I'm going to lead this meeting. I'm Zach Lubline. It's going to be a pretty straightforward one, so I don't think you'll miss Cody a whole bunch. But what we're going to do is right off the bat, we're going to break out into some committee sessions. I want us to do what we've been doing, where each of the committees gives us short little presentation about what their committee does. And then we're going to have people meet with their committees. If you don't have a committee yet, so if you're a new senator or if you just haven't been assigned to anything yet, this is your chance to maybe bounce around for a couple minutes. But by the end of our committee sessions, which we're going to do till maybe a little bit around 6, I want you guys to be assigned to a committee. So I guess without further ado, if people want to give a presentation on what their committees do, who should we start with? Brett, do you want to start with legislative?
Yeah, sure. So legislative committee, we do a lot of events throughout the year that kind of link the school to what's going on, maybe with the state legislature, with new laws. We'd like to get speakers out to talk about various things that basically through law that are going to affect you professionally. We also, in the spring, we go to the Capitol every year for Advocacy Day, and we get together and kind of talk about different things that we'd like to change based on the needs of our campus as a whole. And we also deal with all the writing within our own constitution and stuff like that.
Cool. Philanthropy?
Hi, Jill,
I'm Brandon.
and we are VPs of the Philanthropy Committee. And so again, we try to give students opportunities to do community service activities around the area and beyond. And so we try to connect community organizations to students and vice versa to make like an equally beneficial relationship. And our speaker tonight is actually going to benefit the Philanthropy Committee as part of Community Campus Partnership. So you'll learn more about that. But yeah, we're always busy, so doing fun stuff. Anything to add?
We've got some really cool events coming up this following year and everything. So if you guys want to be a part of our committee, let us know. Go ahead.
Cool. Give me some finance.
Alright, hello everyone, we're finance. Obviously we handle the finances as well as attendance.
Yeah, so we're also going to be putting on several different events this year related to help help have them be able to control their personal finances better, sort of ideas of like starting a small business or working on others, like that. Also, we are in charge of dealing with the PDA forums, which is allowing students to go to professional development events.
And our first event about small business is coming up on November 2nd, so look forward to flyers on that.
Also, one more little update, just so you guys all know, there'll be one senator from every college or school to be in our committee, so we'll be talking about that.
So make sure that's part of your committee discussions today, guys, that you talk about if anybody in your committee would like to be that one kind of partner with finance. Communications?
Well, communications, most of what I have been doing is giving you guys inform on what's going on. This year, we're going to try to branch out a little more into campus, a little more for us, so your presence. That's a big part to really try to up that a little bit. Other than that, putting together some flyers, it's keeping everyone up to date.
Cool. Events and student life?
So we're student life and academic affairs, and we do fun things like ski days, also bagel bars and game nights and different sporting events. But we really want to hone in on the academic affairs and recruit some people to have some ideas.
Diversity?
Yeah, hey guys, we are Diversity Committee, and we're responsible for increasing awareness of the diversity represented by the student body here on campus, as well as to increase diversity programming on campus. So we do a lot of different celebrations and holidays, as well as partner with different student groups for their events as well.
Cool. Did I miss anybody? So we're looking for each committee to have at least 3 different schools a part of it. We're also hoping that all the committees, seem to have like a good amount of representation. So if you see a committee that doesn't really have a whole lot of people part of it, then, or if you don't know which ones don't have a whole lot of people and you don't have a preference, then we can let you know who might need some more members. And then also, I want during committee meetings or the committee session, I want VPs to find out who wasn't at the retreat, so that we can fill them in a little bit better. So who part of your committee was not at the retreat, go ahead and write down their names or whatever, and you can get that to me probably at the end of committee sessions. And then we'll give a little report in maybe 15 minutes on what you guys might have coming up. Other than that, any questions? Cool. All right, go find your VPs. All right, crew, can we circle back up? Brett, I can just give a quick announcement for us that we're going to do a town hall. It was over here last time I checked. I think it's working its way in. All right, guys. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to have each group present on maybe like what their next 1 or 2 events coming up are. So I can start with legislative. We're going to do a town hall in about a month, and we'll have more info about that. But we're ballparking for October 25th. So if somebody else is planning on like something on that day, let me know, and then we'll maybe talk about switching them up or whatever. Who else has like an event or an announcement? Finance?
All right, so the first thing we're announcing is not an event.
Okay.
We still need a CHA/PA rep, med school rep, a pharmacy rep. So if you would like to represent one of those schools, please come see me afterwards. We're not taking time right now.
And as was mentioned earlier, November 2nd at lunch, there will be starting a small business talk. Will be provided for the first time. So,
Cool. Who else has a student life?
So we have leaders Thursday, Friday, and then we had our first bagel bar will be October 31st.
Yes, you guys can expect bagel bars every last Tuesday.
Who wants to go next?
Christy will.
Cool.
So our next 2 events coming up, we have one of our main events from last year, Dia de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead. We're going to try to spearhead that again, and then we also are thinking about doing a new event, which is the Hindu Festival of Lights. So we're going to try to get that started. And both of those will happen in October.
Awesome. Communications?
Yeah. I only got one liaison. Not a big position. You guys are gonna make flyers for your committee, and then just keep me updated on what's going on so we can get it out to everyone. And then if everyone could like the Facebook page, just see you Anschutz Student Senate. I know a lot of you weren't able to open the flyer 2 days. That wouldn't have been a problem. Hopefully not on Facebook. Class. So just further getting the word out, kind of making the sense of for everybody.
Well, can you send out the link to the Facebook page so we can write it down?
No problem.
Cool. Philanthropy?
All right, so we talked about a few really great ideas coming up next month or 2. We're looking at something like hurricane relief for all the hurricane victims down south. We don't know exactly what they're needing at this point in time. We're looking into that area a little bit more. We're also looking to Ronald McDonald House there within the next month or so, and then later on this semester during the holiday season, essentially like drive for homeless or people who are in need of it.
Cool. All right, and VPs, if you didn't already, please find out who wasn't at the retreat once again, and then see me after this and just let me know. Yeah, so we have a post-retreat like survey that we sent out that I'll get to that too. That we also want you to fill out. So I will pull that up after the meeting, and anybody who hasn't or who went to the retreat who didn't fill that out can fill it out. And then the last thing is that we have a kind of new policy with planning forms where we're going to try to submit them about a month before an event. Now, if something crazy happens and you end up falling within a month, the pretty much like drop dead date is 2 weeks. So that is hopefully just going to foster an environment of like forward thinking. And if people can fill out those planning forms and get them in and then also email Heather that they did so, then it just speeds up the process of getting an event approved officially. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we have a pretty quick little like report based off of the retreat. I know a lot of people weren't at the retreat, so I'm kind of just going to summarize some of the like cool ideas that were thrown out there, and like get our brains thinking more. And if you have ideas that this like makes you think of, then you can come to, or go talk to your VP, or come talk to me, or talk to Cody at the next meeting about like an awesome, cool idea that you had. But just to run through a few of them, and if anybody wants to talk about their idea more after I mention it, go ahead. But Cody has had this cool idea about like infrastructure forever. And one of his big things is making like little workout areas throughout the campus, like outside. So we're not talking like bench presses and machines. We're talking like like pull-up bars, okay? And like, you know, sort of interactable playground equipment that's designed for healthy habits. So that's something that's like kind of being worked through. Another thing we talked a lot about is both teaching and mentorship on the CU Denver campus. As of yet, we don't have as much integration as we'd like to, and we're not that far away from them. So we were talking at the retreat about getting people who maybe have a certain expertise to go teach one class, as long as the teacher, you know, agrees, on the undergrad campus, and to say this is where you could be after you graduate. You know, you could be in a PhD program, you could be in an MD program, you could be in a nursing program, you know, like all these types of things. We want people to know what their options are, and that Anschutz is not that far away. So both teaching, but then also maybe a mentorship program. These things aren't off the ground yet, but if anybody's passionate about this stuff, get it off the ground and we'll help you. As a Senate, we want to see if we can make this happen. We also talked about doing more financial training on this campus, and not just how do you like pay off your debt, but how do you like use money once you have more of it. A lot of people on this campus are going to go into jobs that make more money than jobs that they've had before, and they might have to learn a little better how to control those finances. So that was one of the awesome ideas that was thrown out there, is maybe Senate can organize an event where people learn a little bit about financial planning. And I know we have our finance committee with an event similar to that coming up, but we can just keep that ball rolling. We also talked about getting a map of study areas on campus. So we already have an awesome interactive map. I don't know if any of you have seen it, other than I think it was presented at one point to Senate. But if you even put like CU Anschutz map online, and then you go to like the page, it says that it's a PDF. It's not a PDF. It's like a cool interactable thing where you click on parking and it shows all the parking spaces. It's super cool, but it's also misleading because nobody knows it's there, and even if they reach the page, they think it's a PDF. We're talking about maybe finding a way to work with IT, to work with the people who control these things, and getting that out there for more students, and then also getting a list of what buildings have study areas. Because I don't know what buildings have study areas other than like Ed 1 and Ed 2. I don't know where I would go if I couldn't find one in those buildings. We also talked about having like self-care Wednesdays. We know that there are a lot of like awesome student health and mental health resources on this campus, but they're not always apparent. And even some of the kind of mental health groups that are going on the campus aren't always apparent. So it'd be great if Senate every now and then had like a self-care Wednesday or something like that, where we're out there, we're getting the word out. Maybe we have like a massage therapist or you know, something like that. So that was thrown out there. When we were at the retreat, we had this awesome resilience and grit training on Saturday. And so many people loved it that we were talking about doing that more, but not just with Senate. Like, can we do that with the student body? Can we do that with senators who weren't there, or can we do it more than just once? So if you're passionate about that, if you just loved that presentation, then that's something that we can look into. What else can we do with that? Or can we do like a resilience and grit part 2, and who would want to be there, or what committee would host it, or you know, stuff like that. And then the last thing was along those same lines, can we take resilience and grit training that we learn, can we maybe learn more about it and become better experts at it, and then take it back to our student councils? So maybe if somebody here is just like so enthused about it that they actually want to see if they can get trained further in it, and then maybe they could present on it to their student councils. All these things are awesome ideas that were thrown out there, and they're feasible. Like, they're not just like those big things where they're like, yeah, well, I wish. Like, these are things that we can get done. And so if you're passionate about something, you have allies here. And you have people who have resources and connections, and even if they don't, they probably know the person who does. And so we want to hear more and more of these ideas. These are just a few that were thrown out there, but they were awesome. And if you weren't at the retreat and you have an awesome idea, let somebody know in this group, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Anybody want to add to anything that I just talked about? All right. Cool, guys. Well, Cody Glickman has no president's report, as he is absent. So I guess without further ado, we will welcome our guest speakers, and I'll actually have Jillian introduce them a little bit. Now, guest speakers, we have these mics because we're recording this in case anybody isn't at the meeting or wants to watch it afterwards. So I don't know if both of them are working, but I know that it'll pick up your voice if you either have this or if you have this. So I don't know if you guys want to coordinate how you want to do that.
Hello? Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to introduce our guests today. I've been working with them for a few months now, and I'm excited to have them here and learn more. So we have, come on up. We have Robert McGranahan. He is the Director of Community Campus Partnership, and Mariana Ledesma, who is the Associate Director of Community Campus Partnership. And so I've worked closely with Mariana. She played a large part in making our philanthropy fair so successful. And without her, it would have been so much harder to get in communication with organizations within this community. And so I'm excited for you guys to hear about what they have to offer us. And I'm excited to share what we have to offer them as well to get us connected closer to the Aurora community. So without further ado, Mariana and Robert. And the flash drive is right.
All right, well, thank you, number one, for the invitation. We are very excited to be here. We've been looking for the opportunity to present to you, and so we are very grateful for this opportunity. My name is Mariana, as Jill said, and Robert and I are going to co-present today. We just want to start by there you go. I don't know what's going on. Okay. We just want to start with our vision statement. We vision a partnership between the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus and the surrounding neighborhoods that is equitable, mutually respectful, sustainable, responsive, and that results in vibrant, healthy learning communities both and on the campus. This is a snapshot of the city of Aurora. City of Aurora is traditionally known as a suburb of Denver, and that is anything but that. The city of Aurora actually is the largest, the third largest city in the state, and the 54th largest city in the country, extending over 3 counties, which makes trying to obtain data a lot of fun. Its population is growing fast as the city expands south and east, and as of 2014, the population was 350,000. The campus is located in North Aurora, or Original Aurora Renewal, which is also known as Original Aurora, and the oldest area of the city, with population of about 125,000 living in 3 zip codes or about 7 square miles. It is also home to about 1,000 businesses, and was largely known to be a community for retired military families. What's also important to know about North Aurora is that it has the youngest population in the city. Its diversity index is 86%, with large and growing numbers of immigrants and refugees, about 12 to 1,800 immigrants per year arriving annually. There's 130 languages spoken in the schools here in North Aurora, and it also has the highest unemployment rates of and the lowest income and lowest educational attainment in the city. So North Aurora, yes, there you go. So North Aurora went through many drastic changes in just a few years, affecting the area economically and socially, and in terms also of the health outcomes. Within just a few years in the 90s, the closure of Larry Air Force Base, Fitzsimmons Army Base, and the Stapleton Airport, all located in or next North Aurora, which we like to call the redevelopment triangle, resulted in the loss of many thousands of jobs, increasing rates of residential and retail value, and leaving many people without health care.
So then in the 2000s, excuse me, the Anschutz Medical Campus relocated here. It's an interesting story for those of you who may not be aware of it, but when the Department of Defense decided to close Fitzsimmons Army Base, which was located here, at the same time, the University of Colorado was in desperate need to build a new health sciences campus. It was located at 9th and Colorado, which now is being developed into a commercial residential development. And the neighborhood surrounding that campus did not want them to expand any further. So the university was casting around for, well, where could we go in the state of Colorado to build a new health sciences campus? And the Department of Defense, the story goes, sold the campus for $1 to the state of Colorado, we're a state school, and enabled the university to start making plans for building the campus here with a very, very generous donation from Phil Anschutz, who's one of the wealthiest people in the country, and that's why we have the name that we have. So given everything that Mariana just said about what had been happening in North Aurora, the development of a new health sciences campus in this neighborhood really raised hopes and promise that this would be an economic engine, would help to revitalize the economically depressed community. And so everybody was keen to see that happen, and everybody watched the campus be built. By about 2008 or so, the campus was pretty much fully operational. But then something happened. That promise and hope that the campus was really going to integrate with the community and be a resource to the community didn't really seem to be happening. And so in 2012, the chancellor at the time commissioned a team to create a framework document, a report essentially, to uncover whether there would be a desire to create an infrastructure on this campus that would facilitate mutually beneficial collaborative activities and programs between the campus and the community. That involved conducting a series of about 30 key informants with campus and community leaders, and the results essentially of that of those interviews revealed that people were very interested in seeing the campus respond to the community in such a way, but that it had to be sustainable. There had to be a long-term commitment on the part of the campus to do this, and that it had to be an equitable, respectful partnership. In other words, not the campus coming in, swooping into the community and saying, this is what we're going to do to help you, but to do it in a true partnership fashion. So with that in mind, I was fortunate enough to come on the scene at that point from Michigan, and was asked to further this work and develop it. And so with the help of folks like Mariana and others, we continued to conduct key informant interviews to uncover what the perceptions of the campus are, as well as what the perceptions of the community are. And we found very interestingly that the community felt that the campus was, while it looked really interesting, nobody knew what was on it, and that it was surrounded by an invisible wall. an impenetrable place, essentially. And folks on the campus, by and large, didn't really know anything about the community in terms of who lived there. Even though they were driving or riding their bikes through it every day to go to work, they really didn't know anything about it. So we formed a planning committee to start the development of what would become known as the Community Campus Partnership in 2013. And an interesting thing happened during those early meetings. While we were talking about, the need to develop an infrastructure to support these collaborations and connections between the campus and the community, we also recognized that we needed to have something more concrete and tangential, concrete and tangible to point to say that this is a program of the Community Campus Partnership. And while all along everyone thought that the overarching aim of this would be to improve health and well-being, because we're a health sciences campus, what emerged from those discussions was an interest in helping local residents learn about and become prepared for jobs on the campus. There was a perception that was later borne out by data that the campus was not diverse, the workforce on the campus was not diverse, and that, as one community partner said at this time, we need to make the campus look more like the face of the diverse community that the campus is in the middle of. That gave birth to what we now call our Higher Local program, which I'll talk about in a minute. We eventually did get actual funding to build an infrastructure, so that enabled me to hire a team, build a website, do all the things you do when you're starting up a new organization. The Denver Foundation, which for those of you who don't know is a local community foundation and has economic opportunity as one of its core funding priority areas, came to our table because they were hearing us talk about helping people get jobs on the campus, and they thought, this may be something that we would be interested in helping to support. They did end up giving us funding and have been a close partner since then. Another arm of our organization is Resident Leader Council. We recognized pretty early on that the partnership, which was about 30 community and campus leaders that was guiding this work, was mostly grass tops. It was campus leaders and organizational leaders from the community, but we didn't have grassroots participation. And so the partnership decided that we needed to do something about that. And with guidance from the Denver Foundation, we developed a model that included the establishment of a resident leader council, grassroots volunteers who have extensive networks in their respective communities through churches, schools, neighborhoods, neighborhood associations, immigrant and refugee communities, many of them are. We currently have about 25, and they meet regularly and are currently conducting an education campaign in the community. But one of the first things they did was they conducted a connections campaign with almost 240 individuals that were in their network to discover what were people talking about in the community, what were their priorities, what were their hopes and fears. They mentioned a little bit about being affiliated with this new organization on campus called Community Campus Partnership, but that wasn't the primary focus. And what came out of those conversations was a lot of issues were revealed, but the top three overall were an interest in or concern about education, broadly defined education for their children, education for themselves, jobs, and learning more about the campus. And so we felt like we were on the right road, given what we had already been talking about in terms of a higher local program, increasing connections to the campus, and starting to think about what would we do around the area of education. So we started to, well, we were doing a lot of things simultaneously. It seemed like in 2014, 2015, a lot of things at the same time, building ourselves and so on, but also starting to develop the higher local program. And the overall aim for this is just to work together with the employers on the campus. We have a very complicated employment environment on the campus. We have 2 hospitals that are independent, but affiliated with the university. We have the university, and then we have numerous smaller employers, but we were working just with the larger ones. So to work together with our employers and the community to build a diverse and inclusive workplace environment with intentional efforts to include the community in all of these efforts and building relationships across the employer community. We had a pilot program for a couple of years that helped us to get this work started with Community College of Aurora. I'm not going to go into that right now. The main thing I want to let you know about is that our really major accomplishment in this effort in just this year is opening a community-based job hub. We heard from the community and focus groups that we conducted that they wanted a physical space that they could go to in the community where they could gain assistance with navigating the employment process. We're talking about entry and low barrier jobs. So we've done that, and we now have 115 people in the pipeline at various stages with 15 hires. This is all just since April as part of this job hub. So we're really excited about this. It involves outreach to the local community. It involves, again, working with the employers very closely as people go through the pipeline and start applying for jobs. Primarily at the 2 hospitals, but we are also working with some jobs at the university as well. And I wanted to put this slide up here just because we can't claim credit for all of these hiring numbers at the 2 hospitals. But what we've seen from data that they have provided to us, that in the 2 years that we've been doing this work with Hire Local, we have seen a tremendous uptick in the number of people hired from the 3 zip codes that we're working on in surrounding the campus compared to previous years. So again, we can't claim direct credit for all of these, but we're definitely creating a culture on the campus that of employers, people who are responsible for hiring for their staff, of thinking about hiring locally. And we're hoping that by doing that, we're improving economic well-being in the community. And now, Marianne's going to talk about our other area of activity.
So given that education is the most critical social determinant of health, our partnership identified education as our #2 area of focus for our work. Our overall aim is to create a culture for engagement and learning activities between the campus and the surrounding communities. And we do this by augmenting and supporting pipeline programs in health sciences for the schools, for the local schools, increasing service learning opportunity for our students here in the campus to get engaged in the local community, increasing participation by the entire campus in volunteer activities also, here in the community as well. And finally, and probably the most ambitious one is seeking to change faculty promotion policies and incentivize and reward increased participation in community engaged scholarship. This is a pretty straightforward slide, but I just want to mention a couple of activities to you that might be opportunities for later for engagement. Lunch and Learns are career exploration discussions with Aurora students, and we go into the public schools. We have students that just come with us and share their own journey about their career, and it's something that we are always seeking volunteers. So please let us know if you would be interested to participate in the near future. The campus in the community and community in the campus days, we are creating, or we are organizing, a tour for the urban underserved track of North Aurora. And I'm also planning a community in the campus day for service learnings for service providers here in the community, where we're going to take them around the campus, and we want to have them learn about us, but also what can the campus do for the community. We have a lot of resources, so we want to share those with the service providers here in our local community. And community engagement is part of everything that we do, but we have a couple of strategies, specific strategies that I would like to share with you. As Robert mentioned, the Resident Leadership Council is a big resource to us. There are eyes and ears in the community, and they help to guide our work. The monthly networking breakfast and dinners is another activity that you might be interested in. We rotate between breakfast and dinners every month, and they are hosted by various organizations in the local community. So the locations will vary from month to month. And it's an opportunity for you really just to get to know your neighbors, get to know the community members, and share resources, and with the goal of making connections between the campus and the surrounding community. And the next one is a dinner, and it will be hosted by UC Health, University of Colorado Hospital. And it will be October 19 here in the student bridge, and it starts at 5. So if you guys are interested, please join us. And lastly, we also try to do community engagement through our communications. In 2015, we launched our interactive website, and you have the address here. It's a big resource to you and also the community. Please check it out. We need a lot of work on our website. We recognize that, we outgrown our website, but you can still get the basics of searching for opportunities of activities in the community and posting your opportunities as well. So we encourage you to use our website. We also publish and distribute a bi-monthly e-newsletter with stories or stories from things that are going on in the community. Our weekly update emails, if you sign up to receive our communications, you will receive this email every Monday morning, and it's just an email with about 5 links with opportunities, again, just to get engaged in the community. We have sometimes events or volunteer opportunities for Aurora. And one thing that I don't know if we mentioned is that our focus our focus area is North Aurora. So, you might not see a lot of activities in Denver, and that's why. And lastly, we are building a constant contact listserv of 1,700 and growing. And speaking of growing, again, if you go to our website, if you go to our website, on the very, right on the first screen, you'll have the sign up button to sign up to receive our communications. And that's it. We're here to answer any questions if you have any.
If people do have a question, if you guys can please repeat their question a little bit.
Okay.
So we have about 5 minutes.
Yes, we can, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That's a great question. The question is about upward mobility of people that get hired into entry and low barrier jobs. That's something we hope to see, that people will progress in their careers. And both hospitals, and I believe the university too, have programs to help support that for continuing education. So that's definitely something that we want to see. Nope. Okay, well, you know how to reach us, and we know how to reach you. The students are a great resource on this campus, and we hope that you will consider getting involved in particularly our Learn Local activities with Aurora schools and also with community organizations. So please get in touch if that's of interest to you. Thanks so much for having us.
Another poster for ski days, guys. Okay. So now we have our treasurer's report.
roster, please come do so.
Cool. All right, I already said this once because I forgot I was saying it later, but we do have the retreat survey. So far, we have very few responses to it. So we can pull it up, like even on this computer, you know, we would turn off that, and you can like fill it out after this meeting if you want to. A couple other things. The National College Health Survey is going to be going out. Is it within the next week or is it? Okay. So next week, what this is it's a like roughly 20 to 30 minute survey, which I know sounds scary, but it's a survey that's going out to a bunch of different universities throughout the country. It's really super important to get some metrics on kind of like how our campus is doing on health, or how we feel about health in all of the different ways that can be interpreted. And so we're really hoping that at the very least you guys will fill it out to kind of set a good example, but then also that you can let your constituencies know that this is a survey going out, they're going to get an email about it, and that it's really important for them to fill out so that we can know more about Anschutz as a whole.
Yeah, what is the title for the email that you sent out for the retreat survey?
Okay. Okay, we'll get it out and we will put it on the Facebook maybe? Can we do that? Okay, well, okay, all right. That's fine. All right, we'll send it out again, and you can fill it out today if you really want to. Yeah, well, no, we want you to fill it out. I'm saying you can fill it out today if you want to fill it out today. But we want you to fill it out. Any more questions about the National College Health Survey? It's abbreviated NCHS, so if you see that, like, that's what that means. So I think that like both on a national level, they're conducting information, but we also get to see our results, and our results and CU Denver's results, who they're also taking this metric, will be separated. So we'll be able to kind of see what our campus is doing. A lot of it is like, how do we feel about our mental health? How do we feel about our social health, like the climate on the campus? How do we feel about our actual, like, you know, health as far as whether we think we're eating well or whether we're working out a lot, you know, stuff like that. So it's just a way of kind of getting an idea of how our campus is doing, and maybe some places where we need to like exert a little bit more force to get resources out there. So if we find out that people just feel like there are not mental health services on this campus, for instance, then that tells us one thing that we can intervene with.
Actually, we're doing a pretty comprehensive view of what's going on campus around student health. So we have a JED Foundation grant that's looking at doing an environmental scan policies and procedures around campus around mental health on suicide prevention. This National Collegiate Health Survey is really about your own behavioral health, what's happening. You can take a look and understand where should we put resources to support students. Is anxiety a big issue? Please. Places where we can start to understand where might students need support around mental health. And then the third piece we're going to be doing with the student health promotion group is more of a on the ground checkpoint type survey to ask if there were programs on campus that what would you like to see. So we want to build that baseline, so then over the years we can start to program toward it, and also be able to measure if we're having success in providing healthy environment. So this is baseline. Thanks for asking.
Any other questions on that? Okay, the last thing is that the health promotions subcommittee that is going on campus that Jill talked a little bit about is potentially looking for more student input, and it'll be likely that there are times that neither Cody or myself can go, and we've previously been the ones that are going to that subcommittee. So they do meet on Wednesdays once a month. So if somebody's really interested about that, please contact me. because I've been kind of the go-to person for that committee, but I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to be able to go every Wednesday that they have it or whatever. But it is just once a month. So let me know if you want to be part of that subcommittee. They do a lot of cool stuff and talk about student health on this campus in general. And I think that's about it. Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, I skipped that. My bad. Well, wait, before we shoot off. So we have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Okay, cool, go.
It's just like an hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, 4 o'clock. 7:30 to 8:30. What? Just have to help set up and whether you'll be on. What were you thinking?
Look at this awesome commitment. Yeah. Sure will. Campus Student Services? No? Okay, just do that survey, guys. Cool. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Oh wait, do we have a? Was that a motion to adjourn, or was that a? Okay, all right. Do we have a second? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? All right, cool.
And all the VPs, if you'll come see me real quick, please.
Cool.